Welcome back to another video where I explain many of our fascinating Catholic stories and histories. This is the second video explaining St. Anthony of Padua's miracles. This is also one of the most famous miracles of him. He proved the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. The story goes on telling us that St. Anthony was preaching in various areas in France where he came to Toulouse. Toulouse is the central city of one of the 22 metropolitan councils of France. It was also a center of the Cathar heresy. The Cathar heresy was a Christian sect that originated in Western Europe in the 12th and 13th centuries. The Cathars rejected the Roman Catholic Church and its teachings and believed they were the only Christians. The Cathars' beliefs were based on early Christian Gnosticism, which is a set of beliefs based on a thing called dualism. Means there were two opposing forces in the universe, one representing good and the other evil. They denied the goodness of the material world. This dualistic worldview influenced their rejection of material wealth and physical pleasures, as they viewed the material world as inherently corrupt. Cathars only believed in the existence of a pure spiritual realm that could only be accessed through asceticism, a lifestyle of strict self-discipline and abstinence from worldly pleasures. They rejected many sacraments of the Catholic Church, viewing them as corrupt and unnecessary for salvation. St. Anthony engaged in several public debates with them, but although they could not out-argue him, they were not yet ready to give in to St. Anthony's teachings of Catholic Church. One day during the same debate, one of them demanded a miraculous proof. "If you can make my mule bow down before what you call the body of Christ, I will believe." But Anthony did not want to put God to the test. But naturally, there was no way he could avoid this challenge, and so St. Anthony agreed, leaving the outcome to God. The heretics want to see whether a dumb animal would sense God's presence in the host, or choose it over a good feed of hay and oats. They established that the test should take place in 3 days. The heretic starved his mule for next 3 days. When the appointed time had arrived, a great crowd gathered in the city square. Anthony celebrated Mass in a little chapel, and at the end he came out carrying the Blessed Sacrament. Meanwhile, the hungry mule had also been brought along. St. Anthony stood off to one side with the consecrated host in his hands, while the heretic stood the other side holding some fodder for the mule to eat. Then Anthony called out, "Mule, come here and show reverence to your Creator." At once the animal came towards Anthony, ignoring its own extreme hunger, went before the Eucharist and knelt down to adore the Blessed Sacrament. The owner of the mule saw this, and everyone there were stunned. He also bowed and knelt down before the Eucharist, and many heretics were also reconciled to the Church that day. The miracle of the mule stimulates us to think about the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. First of all, we must say that the Eucharist is a sacramental extension of the Incarnation in space and time. The Word became flesh and came to dwell among us, we read in the Gospel of John. However, we know that the presence of Christ did not end with Jesus' death. As we know, on the third day, He rose and continues to live among us through the Church. Therefore, every time we attend Mass, we meet Jesus at the deepest, most intimate level.